with Jeff Sneider.
What's the deal with the cast of Star Wars Episode VII? I know next to nothing about Star Wars, but what I do know is actors. And on that basis, I can say that this new cast is already shaping up to be pretty special. We're not going to be discussing original cast members such as Harrison Ford or Mark Hamill or Carrie Fisher today, or any potential characters since I haven't read the script, and there's no point in speculating, especially as a guy who doesn't know the difference between what is canon and non-canon and extended universe and regular old universe. So let's start with Oscar Isaac. Let's dive right in. He's coming off a Golden Globe nomination for Inside Llewyn Davis. It was a star-making turn in that Coen Brothers movie. You know, Oscar first started to pop back in 2008, but it wasn't until a Los Angeles Film Festival screening of Drive that he really made a significant impression on me. I met Oscar that night at the film festival, and even with Ryan Gosling around, he stood out amongst the crowd. There's just something very magnetic about him, and even though he's not a very big guy, he has a fairly intimidating physicality. Like, there's a real presence to Oscar on screen. I know that Tony Gilroy really lobbied for Oscar to take over the Bourne franchise from Matt Damon, but he wasn't a proven commodity, so Universal balked, and they understandably ended up going with Jeremy Renner, who was hot off of Best Picture winner The Hurt Locker at the time. Gilroy did manage to cast Oscar in a supporting role, and I think that scene where it's him and Jeremy Renner, there's kind of a quiet power to it. That's probably the best scene in the Bourne legacy. Oscar's been rumored for this Star Wars role for the past several weeks. We heard that negotiations had stalled at one point, but fortunately that's been overcome. I think he is the perfect choice for this franchise. To me, he projects a sort of zen-like calm, and he seems like an actor who lets the situation come to him rather than forcing it, and I imagine that skill is going to serve him really well as a hero in the Star Wars universe. Domhnall Gleeson is one of the hottest young actors in Hollywood, and while he's best known for playing supporting player Bill Weasley in the Harry Potter movies, he's quickly becoming a leading man in his own right. He recently wrapped Angelina Jolie's Unbroken, and he actually stars alongside Oscar Isaac in Ex Machina. To me, Domhnall he strikes me as a really versatile performer, and I know Paradigm really considers him one of its most important clients. Let's move on to Adam Driver, who's best known for playing Lena Dunham's boyfriend Adam Sackler on HBO's terrific series Girls. Driver's been one of the most in-demand actors, working for top-tier directors. He worked with Steven Spielberg and Clint Eastwood and Noah Baumbach, and then the Coen brothers alongside Oscar Isaac in Inside Llewyn Davis. And he was just cast in Martin Scorsese's Silence, which he is still going to do. Warner Brothers was also courting him for a role in Batman vs. Superman, which he was forced to turn down because of Star Wars. So you can tell that kind of this has been in the works for a while. To me, Adam Driver is a wholly unique performer, meaning there's no one else quite like him. Part of that is because he's a bit of an odd duck, and he's very interesting looking, and part of it is this: he's just, his talent is very distinct. It's clearly apparent. He's expected to play a major villain in the Star Wars movie. I think he's a great choice because, to me, he is really good at projecting a sort of inner darkness and a quiet anger. So while he plays a divisive, often controversial character on Girls, I think we can expect something completely different from Adam Driver in this movie, and I can't wait to see what that is. Now, Daisy Ridley is a little-known British actress who is no longer little-known. With the click of a button, she is now an instant star known worldwide, and her casting is a huge coup for her London-based agent, Jonathan Aaron. I'm expecting an agency feeding frenzy for her. I bet CAA and WME and UTA are going to be tripping over themselves to sign her. Next, we're going to hop to John Boyega, the star of Attack the Block, who after that, he booked the lead in Spike Lee's HBO pilot The Brick, although that show never got picked up to series. I love seeing a little diversity in the Star Wars universe, so I think he's going to be a really good fit. He's really charismatic, and he was a really compelling badass in Attack the Block. I think he should be able to hold his own against the Siths if he is, in fact, a young Jedi, as rumored. And my colleague Lucas Shaw actually saw him in a Sundance movie, Imperial Dreams. He came away even more impressed with him. I think John's reps at CA and Management 360 have been doing a great job with him. They've been very selective, and it looks like their patience has finally paid off today. Andy Serkis also is part of the cast. He's the mocap master. He's played Gollum, King Kong, Caesar in the Apes movie. My guess is that he will be doing mocap for this movie again, but he could certainly appear in a live-action role. You never really know. And finally, we have Max von Sydow, who is Hollywood royalty way, and thanks to Dune and Flash Gordon and Conan Barbarian, he sort of has a huge place in geek culture. I think von Sydow is going to bring the sort of gravitas that this movie is going to need, since the original trio are not quite the same people that we remember. All in all, this is a great start to the Star Wars Episode 7 casting. As someone who is not very invested in the franchise and is kind of indifferent at this point, the casting went a long way to getting me really excited to see this movie, and I suspect that it's going to bring, a broader fan base into the theater, maybe people who aren't predisposed to seeing this kind of movie. I expect to, that there'll be a couple other casting additions and other surprises that JJ has up his sleeve, which should be revealed in the coming days and weeks. This has been What's the Deal with Jeff Sneider. Thanks for reading TheWrap.com, and you can follow me on Twitter at TheInSneider.
What's the deal with Jeff Sneider?